they admit they almost gave up.
But 8 full years after 2 Pendergrass employees argued their complaints about alleged corruption cost them their jobs, a jury agreed and has ordered the city to pay up.
Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis is here now with new developments in a story that he's covered from the beginning.
That's right, Sinead and Rush. Yeah, when we first met these whistleblowers back in 2009, they brought with them some damning evidence. Audio and video recordings, they said, backed up their claims. The Pendergrass city manager was fixing tickets and misusing tax dollars. Well, coming forward may have cost them their careers, but it may cost Pendergrass a whole lot more.
If you're ever driving between Gainesville and Jefferson, the folks in Pendergrass would appreciate if you slow down and buy something, or speed up and let them write you a ticket. Either way, a recent court loss means they're going to need all the extra money they can get.
Hey folks, these are big numbers. But it's also been 8 years.
8 years. That's when we first met former Pendergrass City Clerk Katherine Rintoul and Police Lieutenant Bill Garner. They showed us what they had earlier brought to the mayor. Recordings of city manager Rob Russell admitting that he fixed traffic tickets for certain people in Pendergrass.
Like I said, it's situational ethics. But you have to look out for the family. That's what you and Bill don't do. Sometimes you got to look out for the family.
Russell told us back then he only tore up traffic tickets that would have been tossed anyway when they got to court. He even alludes to that in another secret recording laced with profanity.
So you tell me all this is because a few tickets get chunked out the window. Then we're going to get chunked in.
We're not going to tell anyone not to arrest anyone, man. That's absolutely not true.
But Russell also admitted using city dollars to help city employees pay their personal debts, even as the city suffered a significant budget deficit. He insisted they were loans and the money was eventually repaid.
They would always say, everybody does it. Just because everybody does it doesn't make it right.
When the whistleblowers went to Pendergrass Mayor Monk Talbert with their concerns and evidence, city leaders took no action, but came up with an answer to their budget shortfall. Lay off 5 people, including City Clerk Rintoul. The police lieutenant would quit a short time later, claiming a hostile work environment. Garner says he couldn't find another job in law enforcement because Pendergrass reported to Post that he had resigned while under investigation. He would wind up working as a mall security guard.
That was the only thing I regretted, is that I truly believed other people would do what was right.
Rintoul claims she was also blacklisted, had to sell her house in Pendergrass and move away. The two hired local attorney Nancy Val Preda on contingency, meaning she would not get paid unless they won their lawsuit against the city.
Either you are ethical or you're not. There's no such thing truly as situational ethics. You either do the right thing or you don't do the right thing. And this Katherine and Bill did the right thing.
If the wheels of justice do grind slowly, this case was barely on the rails. First, a federal judge dismissed the case in 2011, so the plaintiffs decided to file under the State Whistleblowers Act. But then the case bounced around here in Jackson County for years because every Superior Court judge recused himself. A retired senior judge agreed to hear the case, and then he died. Finally, in mid-November, the plaintiffs got their day in court, and a verdict they had waited so long to see.
Pendergrass had violated the State Whistleblowers Act by retaliating against Rintoul and Garner. A case that had lasted 8 years took the jury about an hour to decide.
Were there tears when they came back?
Well, most definitely.
I didn't mean for the floodgates to happen, but instantly the validation that these jurors walked it with us. We didn't do it by ourselves. You know, we weren't alone. And that was big.
So was the judgment. Pendergrass ordered to pay more than $1 million in back wages and damages. $1 million for a city whose annual budget is $339,000.
They could try and blame us, but we were the ones doing what was right, standing up for them and their tax money. It was the choices that the mayor and city council and officials made that brought us to this point.
Throughout the 8 years, Rob Russell has continued to manage Pendergrass. He told me by phone the city's, quote, extremely disappointed with the verdict and they plan to appeal.
Quite frankly, no amount of money is going to bring back the last 8 years of my life and what they did.
Do you think you proved your point?
Oh, absolutely. We were right. They were wrong.
There's a hearing in January to decide whether Pendergrass should also pay the whistleblowers' legal bills. Ms. Val Preda estimates those to be more than $300,000. Pendergrass has no insurance coverage to handle lawsuits. We're talking about $3.4 million now. And Rob Russell told me that Pendergrass has already spent $500,000 defending itself against this lawsuit. And up until now, they've been successful, but not now.
Wow. You showed us what the annual budget is, about a third of the judgment, not a big tax base in terms of population. How are they going to pay for this?
They're trying not to think of the worst case scenario, but Rob Russell did tell me today that bankruptcy is an option. And also unincorporating, basically giving up the city and hoping that it would just go away. I assume it would. I'm not sure, but that's another option.
Yeah,
because Pendergrass would not be a city anymore.
Do we have any idea on the time frame of the appeal?
No, it hasn't even been filed yet. They're preparing it right now. There's actually a meeting tomorrow morning, a city council meeting tomorrow morning in Pendergrass. We plan to cover it and see what happens.
Should be very interesting.
Keep us posted.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Randy.
Ray.